Hello fellow Murdlers! Today is Friday, March 22nd, 2024, and it's a great day to solve a murder. Today we have the complicated case of the no longer living preacher. We have 3 5x5 grids with suspects, locations, and weapons. And I believe this will be all clues and evidence today. Yes, okay. So we see our red murder clue here. A string of prayer beads was used to commit the murder. So we can go ahead and mark that in. That is the weapon today. So now we just need to find the who and the where associated with that weapon. Let's go ahead and meet our suspects. We have Baron Maroon, Secretary Celadon, the Duchess of Vermilion, Vicomte Eminence, and Vice President Mauve. The weapons are a holy relic, yarn, a human skull, an antique flintlock, and of course the string of prayer beads, which is our murder weapon today. And the locations are the front steps, the graveyard, the nave, the bell tower, and the vestibule. So let's go ahead and dive into our clues and evidence. Alright, starting off we have a fingerprint clue. So let's go ahead and see how these line up. I think, yes, it's going to be the Duchess of Vermilion. Okay, so I'll go ahead, the fingerprint, Duchess of Vermilion in the nave. So we can go ahead and find Duchess of Vermilion in the nave and mark that there. All right, next clue. Okay, this we're gonna skip. It's an either or clue and we simply do not have enough information to solve it right now, so we're gonna come back to it in a little bit. The next one, we have an anagram. Okay, Vice President Mauve brought an antique flintlock. Okay. Vice President Mauve brought an antique flintlock. Vice President Mauve, antique flintlock. Okay, great. A red hair was found on the front steps. Okay, so we're dealing with the front steps. Is that this icon here? Yes. So let's figure out which suspects had red hair. We have Baron Maroon. Let's see, anyone else? No, so it's just Baron Maroon with red hair, so we now know Baron Maroon must have been on the front steps. All right. Whoever was in the vestibule had green eyes. Okay, let's go ahead. Hazel, green, so it could be Secretary Celadon. Okay, so it is. Secretary Celadon was in the vestibule, which was here, right? Yes. Okay. Whoever had the yarn was left-handed. So again, we go through our suspects. We see right-handed, left-handed, 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 right-handed. Wow. Okay, so we've got Baron Maroon and Vicomte Eminence who are excluded from this clue. So that's all we know. We know that these two did not, and we also know that one of these two did. So we can put in the question marks here for these two, for Celadon and Vermilion. Okay. Analysts discovered traces of a weapon made of metal on the clothing of the Duchess of Vermilion. Okay, so that's going to help us eliminate one of these. So let's go back to our weapons, and we're going to look for a weapon made at least partially of metal. We've got bone, wool, bone, wood and metal, and wood and metal. Okay, I think we have our murderer. Because we know that only these two weapons, the antique flintlock and the prayer beads, have a metal component, and we know that the antique flintlock was assigned to Vice President Mauve, that leaves only one possible metal weapon for the Duchess of Vermilion, and that is the prayer beads. And we know that the prayer beads are our murder weapon today. So that's also going to tell us that Secretary Celadon had the yarn. And yeah, I think that gives us our who and our where. So we've got Duchess of Vermilion with the prayer beads in the nave. So let me go ahead and mark that in here too. And we can also put it in our accusations here. Duchess of Vermilion, the nave. Okay, Before I hit submit, I'm just going to quickly finish up the rest of my grid, make sure everything's looking correct. And also, let's go back now that we know a few more things. Let's go back and finish this either or clue. Either the Duchess of Vermilion brought a human skull or a holy relic was in the graveyard. Great, so now we know where the holy relic was. So we can go ahead and put this in the graveyard, which I believe is here. Yes. Okay, so that's our last clue. The rest is just going to be using the existing information to fill out the rest of the grid. So I'm going to do that real quickly, and then we'll go ahead and see if we were right. Okay, our grid is all filled out. There was one thing that was a little tricky that I thought I'd call out here. Because we knew Vice President Mob's location, Vice President Mob's weapon, and we also knew some of the locations for the other weapons, we were actually able to eliminate some locations for Vice President Mob because we knew that they were associated with other weapons. I believe in this case it was the... oh, I'm forgetting now, but either way, what we were able to do is we were able to say because Vice President Mauve had this weapon for sure, and there were other weapons associated with other locations, we could eliminate those locations and find the bell tower as the only possible location for Vice President Mauve. Once we did that, everything else kind of fell into place. So just wanted to explain that one little piece, but otherwise it was all pretty much just moving the information we had already found here into its corresponding grid up here. So, our accusation today is the Duchess of Vermilion with a string of prayer beads in the nave. Let's see if we were right. And we were right. Awesome. Thanks so much for playing along with me today. I hope this was a helpful walkthrough, and we'll see you tomorrow.